Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Guys, welcome back. For all those that are new, this is a painting video, weekly painting video. For all my regulars here, guys, I feel love, thank you very much. I'll see you in a second. Right, so what am I painting on this video? Well, I was going to paint this guy. Okay, this is the Majesty guy from the Edmech. I was gonna paint him, but time has eluded me a little bit, and a few things going on at work that didn't really help. So it's just put me behind a little bit. So what I'm going to do is paint the Crooked. And don't get me wrong, all the models need to be painted, but I'm going to start with this guy now. So let me run you through my wet palette quickly. So I have Runelord Brass, Polished Blue, Dark Angels Green, Vulcan Green, Vegetable Armour, Beaten Copper, and I have, this is White Scars White, because there's a bit of green in there because I had a little bit out on the brush and I didn't realise. So it should be okay, but you know, it's the bog standard colours that I use for my Necrons. I have some Moot Green in the background, yeah, the airbrush version of it. I have some Lead Belcher as well, because there's a little something I'm going to try with that. And I've got some Ephesian Camo Shade, because I thought maybe I'll wash down any Retributor Armour afterwards. So the first thing I'm going to go for on this bad boy, let's zoom in a little bit actually, there we go. That's a lovely, I forgot corn red for his head, for his face, doesn't matter. Okay, we'll start with Runelord Brass, and I'm literally going to paint all of his torso with it. I do actually have Kamoteph alloy as well sitting around. I haven't put none on the wet palette because I'm not sure if I'm going to dry brush it across the top or not. I might actually, there's a little joint on his knee there, his leg there, a little circle, but I might actually paint that with Kamoteph alloy, just to make that pop, because he's got one on his elbow as well, yeah. So I'm going to crack on with this. It's one on his ankle as well there, see that? So I'm going to literally crack on with this. I'll come back to you once I've got all the Kamoteph alloy done. It's not a long process, but not Kamoteph alloy, Runelord Brass. It's not a long process, it's just you don't want to sit here and watch me paint one colour for 20 minutes, you know. Right, so he's had the first colour, Runelord Brass, as you can see. Sorry, I've got paint in the way, nudging against my hand as I'm trying to bring him on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to Lead Belcher, the airbrush paint, and I'm going to paint his weapon. So I'm going to say, well, why are you doing that for? That's not the way you usually do this. When I did the 12-hour painting challenge, I discovered a very sneaky thing, and I'm going to apply that now. So I'm painting all of his weapons silver. Yeah, as you can see, there's bits of black still coming through on there, but that's what I want. Okay. I'm doing this now because when I go to the next stage, I need this to be dry and not give me any problems. I've also, sorry, I've got to say, there's two scarabs on his back, so I also gave them a bit of Runelord Brass as well. Now I'm going to go onto the back here, give this the silver as well. the lead belcher, sorry. Lighting's going a little bit weird because the doors are blowing itself open. Okay, so it's looking good so far. Some people might go, oh John, but look, it looks a little bit like that. Yeah, I've zoomed right in so you can see every single bit of perfection, every single bit of where there's any mistakes. Okay, most YouTube videos and painting videos won't show you that, won't zoom in this far to show you the mistakes. But you know, at the end of the day, this is for fun. This is to add it to my army, so I have no problem showing you things I'm doing right, things I'm doing wrong. Again, you can learn from them. If it's right and you like it, you learn from it. If it's wrong and you don't like it, then you learn from it. I'm going to give that a minute or so to dry, and I'll come back to you. Right, so now I'm going to get the favourite polished blue, and I'm going to go on these top shell bit here. But the problem is, he's got some nice little bits on there, as you can see. And some nice lines and grooves that I don't want to get the polished blue on, because I want to add some different colours into that to really contrast the blue. Actually, no, I just had enough idea. So I'm going to paint one side, then go off camera and do the other side. This is the fun part now, trying to get inside the helmet. And I'm also going to do these as well. Okay, these little spikes. Right, so as you can see, I've done the little bits on his back. I did the little bits between his legs there. Yeah, just not the middle piece though. Just it looks like I've caught the middle piece actually. I've got it a few bits. I've got it there, with the rest a little bit up there, but that's fine. So now I'm going to go with Retributor Gold. Oh, sorry, Retributor Armor, and I'm going to paint all of this coming down. Okay, I'm going to do this bad boy in the middle. I'm going to avoid the gems as best as I can. Okay, I'm not finished yet, I'm just showing you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the bottom of his staff here. Okay, so I'm going to do that, bottom of the staff, and a bit in the middle there. Right, so what I've actually decided, sorry, there's the gold. Okay, just going to leave it to a little bit more on that side. To make it, leave it to sit and dry. But I'm also going to then get some beaten copper, and I'm going to do the joints with beaten copper. So just really to make it really, those joints really pop more than Yeah. There's only a few joints on the model. If you're not happy with how bright the bit copper is, or the copper effect that you're going for, just give it a moment to dry, and then chuck some more on. Check some bit copper in the middle there as well, on his little robe. I've actually got some corn red now on the wet palette, so I'm going to paint his helmet, or his head, shall I say, so that all stands out and contrasts the metallics. Now, it might need 2 thin coats of the red. The thing to do is just do the 1 coat, see how it dries, and then go to the next one. Mist. His eyes a little bit. It's a bit more gold than his chin, I think. Where are we? See that, just the bottom corner there. I'll sort that out, it's not a problem. Now, move the paint out of the way again. I've got some of this very old paint here. Yeah, it's a wash. And I'm going to wash down the cloak on the back of him. Just I'll wash it down with it. It's going to give me a nice metallic-y blue. That's going to go well with the polished blue, but it won't take nothing away from it. Yeah, so it looks very similar, but as it starts to dry, you get to the recesses. I actually might have to just take a little bit there, don't let it pull together too much at the bottom there. It's really going to just give me a nice hint of blue across the silver. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of this bad boy, Frozen Camo Shade. Right, so what I'm going to do is, with the Frozen Camo Shade, I'm going to go like in his ribs here, just around his neck and all that, just to really wash it down. His collar as well. I want to get this bit here in the front of him. I want that to darkness added to it. His legs are washed down as well. Wants to do his arms and the rest of his body. And the gold will wash down. The staff. Take that shine off of it. I'll leave that to do his beard as well. Gonna leave that to dry. And I'll compact it in. Right, so as you can see, it's giving it like a nice bronzy look. Wait, I'm too far out. Okay, it's giving it a nice bronzy type look. Yeah, which is nice. But it means I can actually dry brush that with Kamoteph alloy to make it really pop out more. So what I'm going to do, take a bit of water on my brush and water down some Dark Angel's green. Really water it down. And now I'm going to paint on the blade. Just paint it on, spread it out. The idea is to cover all the silver up. There's still have a few bits of silver coming through. Yeah, so you can see bits of black coming through, and there should be, well, there will be silver when it starts to dry. Right, I'm going to get a little bit of Vulcan green. Just chuck it in there on the orbs on his back. Get a little bit on the back there. There you can see, look at that, the blade. See that? That's absolutely amazing. That's the watered down Dark Angel's green. I mean, you could use Vulcan green, just water it right down. See the other side, yeah? It's coming together really nicely. So I have to wait for that to dry, but before I do that, actually, before I forget, I'm going to hit his eye with some Vulcan green. Now with this, because he's a robot and his eye's going to be illuminating light, if I just sort of overshoot a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, because then when I add the next layer to it, it's going to really make it look like it's illuminated some sort of light. There's a little bit on his chin as well. So I'm going to let it dry for a minute. Let's have a look at the cloak. The cloak looks good. Might have to give that a little wash down with some Agrex Surf Shade to darken it up. Right, so I've got some Kinetic Alloy here. Okay, and I've got a number 1 base brush from Citadel. Yeah? Or number 7, sorry. Is that number 7 or number 1? Where are we? Number 1, by the looks of it. And I'm literally going to dry brush him. I'm going to start with this on the back. Really just bring it up a little bit. It's looking a bit too bronzy for me, unfortunately. Yeah. So you can see the 3 colours used on his legs, just sort of just colour shifts a little bit, doesn't it? It's nice. See the difference, look at his arm. Look at the leg. It's a big difference. So look at the sword, the axe in it there, his war scythe. Yeah, looking good. See the edges of it, it's absolutely amazing. It's just silver with a watered down green, like dark green. Right, now I'm going to take care of these bits on his back. So now I'm going to go with some Plague Bearer Flesh contrast paint. And I'm going to dab it in. But I want to try and put it on that bit there like that. And just run it along. I want to fill those little gaps with that. Making a bit of a mess of it, but it's not a big issue because when the contrast paint is dry, I could go over it with, I've done too much there, way too much. I could go over it with the polished blue again, just to tidy it up. I think that's way too much on there. I don't know. This side. Yeah, tidy anything, look at that side. Yeah. Need to get a little bit more on this side, I think. It's actually making it look like a nice little rust effect, isn't it? It's nice. Anyway, so there's that. I mean, I could always also go with some moot green afterwards and just add a little dollop of moot green into the gems itself. If I'd experiment with the contrast paint over the top of it, Right, so now we're going to go with, we're going with some watered down Vulcan green on the wet palette, and I'm going to just go and just start trying to just not edge highlight, but just sort of a little highlight in there, just to bring it up a little bit here and there. Because it's so watered down, it won't take much away from what's underneath it. You can see that I'm not actually adding it to every little bit. So there's where else. So you can see the silver. Yeah, well, it's not actually silver now, it's greeny silver. It goes from light to the darker, and then there's the darker bits I've added. Okay. It's a little bit too high to really make that start to pop out a little bit more. Yeah. So it's better close up. Let's go right up to the camera so you can see. Focus in. Focus in. Focus on my hand. Yeah. So you see the bits of black as well coming through, so that's amazing. Right. Leave that to dry. And I think then we'll be on to doing the moot green and then add some white to it. So just a second. Right, so what I've done now, I've put some moot green on my palette. I've got swirled it right down on the brush, and I want to get in to all of these bits. Yeah. Sort of wash it in. It's not bad enough for me. Sorry. Really watered it down. So it's even wetter than what the Dark Angels green and the Vulcan green was. That's it. I want it to flow into those parts. Yeah. See the bit on the left? That's the way I want it. I'll just give this a quick bit in the middle. Go once over. And bring it along the edge of these little tufty bits. It's not going to make much of a difference because it's quite watered down, but it's going to add a little bit more to it. Spin this bad boy around. One of the things I find in my Necron guys, painting their bodies and everything else is pretty straightforward. You know, selection of metallics and away I'll go. But I'm really trying to push myself with their weapons, like these type of weapons, because I just think it makes such a difference to the model. Really contrasts everything. These mad, crazy weapons just blasting out. What I do is add a little bit in there. Don't zoom out on me. I've got out of focus, get into focus. Let's see, I've got the bits up here. What I do is just add a little bit to the edge. I don't want to take the black away. That's the thing I was saying, I don't want to leave it as bare as it was. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute or so. Actually, what I'm going to do first is get the same water down moot green. And I'm going to come in here, so a little bit in there. Just tidy this up a little bit. and wasn't not too pleased with the plague bear green the way it looked afterwards. I mean, look at the shoulder; it looks a bit. It looks okay. It might look like it's adding a bit of illumination, but for me, it's not. It's not what I was going for. So even after this painting video, I might just go back over the shoulder and add. Actually, no, that looks actually pretty good. It actually looks pretty good, actually. I think this side doesn't look as good as the other side. So let me just, let's actually come out a little bit more better than I thought it would. Because it's really watered down, it goes on bright and it will dry off like dark itself down a little bit, but also because it's the colour of the green it is, as it dries off it give it like illumination. It actually looks pretty good. Guys, just try to comment below and tell me what you think about that, because I think that looks pretty good. I can see the blue, I can see where, not the moot green I've just put on, but you can see where the other green was here and there, like on this side, just by the shoulder here, the corner of the shoulder, and just the other side of the, I'm going to point my thumb, over here, I can see that it's, you know, as it follows it round, I can see, pretty good. Anyway, you have to dry, and then I'm going to come back with normal moot green, not watered down. Right, so let's go for the solid moot green now, that's not watered down. And what we're going to do is, we're going to come along and we're going to start to edge highlight a little bit. Not along the whole thing, just we want to try and get certain little bits. So I'm going to have camera again. I found them as well whilst I was sort of stuff out on the desk, so I said, okay, whilst I wait for paint to dry, I might as well just add a few colours to them. Let's get this. I should actually have this guy in his hand already, shouldn't I? Do it on camera will help. Focus in. See, I made a little bit on this along there, not too much, nothing too strong, just a gentle little nudge. Yeah, that's what I'm missing, the paint handle, just realised. Let's give this side a little edge highlight. To do this little bit. Okay, it's not very, looking like, ooh, But as soon as that starts to dry, it's going to dull down and all blend in nicely. We're going to leave that to dry for a minute. Whilst that's drying, I'm not going to do this on camera because, you know, I'm going to just do these guys. Right, so now I've taken my brush, wet it right down. White scars white I'm going for. And this is what I'm doing. Not too much on the brush. I'm going into these gaps and crevices. Okay, this is what I'm doing. You can see it really stands out. But what I want to do is more than that, so I want to add it. Remember, it's watered down, so the more I add, and it's a layer paint, so the more I add, it's going to really like pop like that. And as I said, it's a layer paint, so it will dull itself down. Because I've watered it down, it won't take long to dry either. Spin it round. See that I've taken some of it off the brush, so it's not like pure water flowing everywhere, but it is washed. I can zoom in. Zoom. Zoom in. So I want it to flow into those gaps, those little recesses. So then, sorry, as I was saying, the rest that I've got on top there, as it dries down, it'll dull down, it'll just illuminate the area and make it look illuminated. Spin it around. You can see this side, let's get a bit more up here. Let's get a little bit on this guy here. Let's illuminate that a little bit. Okay, I mean, you look at it and go, trust me, when it dries, it's going to look absolutely amazing. Let's get a little bit of normal white scars coming for the eye. Again, doesn't matter if I get, there we go, it's perfect. Doesn't matter if I get it spot on or not, because it will dull down. So I'll come back to you in a second with some pretty pictures. Right, so here we are. As you can see, the light's just flickering off the wetness still. It's still wet, but you can see, look at that effect. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's not dry yet. As I said, you see the light reflecting off the wetness. Okay, but it's such an amazing effect. Now, to me, it's brilliant. Some people might like it, some people may not. But for me, also, I haven't finished pushing like bladed weapon stuff to the level where I want to push them. I want to push them further if I can. Now, I did go over white over the shoulders. I'm not too sure about how that's going to look. I don't know. Again, chuck on below and let me know. Did the orbs on his back? Nice little splash of white on there. Nothing too fantastic. And his eye. So, it's a bit weird now. But anyway, I'll bring the camera down and show you some pretty pictures. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, it's helped you in any way, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.